Nigeria has 774 local government areas administered by Local Government Council, consisting of a chairman who is the chief executive and other elected members referred to as councillors. Over the years, the allocation meant for the local government was paid through the state government. But recently, the Supreme Court ruled for financial autonomy of the local governments, granting them powers to handle their financial affairs. And also, the National Assembly is considering amendments to the 1999 Constitution to create room for the conduct of local government elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, and not the state electoral bodies. With all of this development, the question is, how will all of these changes help local government councils bring dividends of democracy to the people in the grassroots, being the closest link to them? Well, joining us in the studio for this conversation is the Vice Chairman, Ikorodu Local Government, who also doubles as the National Chairman of the Vice Chairman in Nigeria, Arebere Honorable Princess Folashade Olabanji-Oba. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
That's
yes,
right.
You did.
So let's begin with your reaction to the recent, ruling by the Supreme Court on financial autonomy of local governments. What difference will it make?
Oh, wow, a lot of difference. I want to commend the president of this great country for that historical step. And I know it's all about the people. Definitely, the people will be much, much better for it. And the concerns about the dividends of democracy not really getting to the grassroots, obviously that would now be eradicated, and the small assets. I mean, every politics is local, so for us in Lagos State, we've always had that. But we had like 21 states that really didn't have elected chairman and all that in place. So I really would say it's a plus.
So what you're saying is this ruling really does not affect Lagos State because that is what has been...
Well, Lagos, for me, is center of excellence. Lagos leads, other states follows. But here we have, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu now saying it must be all over Nigeria, nothing but the best, and the people being prioritized above it all.
Well, you are happy, obviously, with the ruling.
Yeah.
Of course. But some state governors are saying it will affect the dividends of democracy going to the grassroots and it will affect revenue coming into the state. What's your take on all of this?
Well, the NGF chairman has also commended that and saying it is a welcome one.
But the PDP
for
Governors Forum,
well,
by also state governor,
okay,
very against it.
But it did talk that some states were burdened, really, even with the local government. And so this is really giving them a little leeway, yeah. And now it's no longer business as usual, because even some local governments or the states that were being co-funded or supported when things, it's not all the states that are performing at, at the best levels and all. So, so right now, the policies, the process and all that, it's really going to be more fortified, okay, to make sure that everything works.
What will this do for the people? Now the people will not have to be looking at the governors for dividends. They'll now look at the local government chairman here. So what will this do for the people? How will this further ensure that the ease of doing business in different local government is achieved?
Well, it's all about accountability and responsibility. The good job of any good government is making sure that the quality of life and properties in wherever you are is improved, okay? So this is saying you have no choice but to really be at your best at wherever you are. No excuses, okay? Well, even before our principals, that's the chairman, under the JAC, had total responsibilities, really, in their decisions. It wasn't like it was being lorded over them. So on that level, I think that is not going to be much different. But now they probably would have more access to be able to do much more, okay, for the people.
And to an extent, I would say that, Lagos has been at the fore of this. In my visit to other local government areas in other states,
I was your neighboring state.
I did not mention
Lagos
any state.
I know, I don't
but
mention
I mean,
neighboring states.
Lagos actually
I'm not
tops it.
sounding patronizing here, okay?
Because for some local governments, especially in states in the other side of Nigeria, we will say to an extent, I got there, I saw even animals in the local government. So to an extent, it wasn't running. And so when I went to local governments in Lagos State, the difference was actually very clear.
Yeah, very clear.
But we are also raising awareness on how accessible the local governments are to the people. Can I walk into the local government?
Obviously, the third tier of government is the closest, okay? And really, where the listening ears, okay? Sometimes, even where you say the states are not hearing, the federal government is far out there, you are in the community. So whatever, you feel the pain, you're in it with them. And so definitely the response is going to be much better. And that is really a big advantage for what the local government is all about. I mean, we all used to say that if the local government's disease, Nigeria will catch cold. It's the closest, really, to the people. And
there are also, concerns about, we will not have a time where, local government will also be running after the federal government allocation, like the state governors. So what is the intention, or what is the plan to generate revenue from now on?
Well, it's all about the creativity now for the president, saying that you must stand up and really now do the job that you're elected to do. I mean, as an elected person, you've got your manifestos and all that. You've made promises. Whatever it takes for you to deliver on those promises, you must keep it. So the revenues, I mean, you can't do much without the funds. So now you've got the funds coming but from the federal government, but you don't totally depend on it. You must also be more creative in your locality to make sure you make things easier also we have what we call internally also generated revenues, yes.
So if the local government is, according to your statement and according to law, is the closest to the people, why did we imbibe this culture of, what do they call it? It just escaped my mind. Okay. This culture of having caretaker committees, yes.
Okay, that's why I said some states felt that was easier for them to walk around, I mean, to function. But obviously, most...
To walk around or to control? Because in the first
place... I'm trying...
It has been ruled that...
Don't get me in trouble here.
It has been ruled that caretaker committees now, in the first place
it just became in...
Yeah, they are, yeah. But at the same time, like I told you, every politics is local. There are certain situations and all that create those kind of situations where you have to have maybe for temporary, obviously not for long term, they're normally for short term, maybe 3 months, 6 months maximum, just to make sure. It's not also easy to do all these elections and all that. So there are different reasons why different states have operated like that. I mean, but it is not legal. And that's why...
I think this will be right for some who had their intention to have them temporarily. We had state governors who for 8 years did not organize elections.
Yeah. But are we going to have or see a situation whereby we have elected local government chairmen serve as proxy caretaker chairman?
Proxy.
When you're
elected, you're elected. And so proxy shouldn't be the word.
When I say proxy, meaning you're answerable to the governor.
Well, we are all under authority.
Definitely.
We are all under. I mean, nobody is an island. Nobody can just wake up and do things. There's a process, there are structures and policies there to be able to make sure that everything works beautifully. Yeah.
Okay, just to provide more clarity to his question, we had the former Ekiti State governor saying local government autonomy will not work. You cannot take a baby from the mother. And we had the Norgay replying, says they are not surprised since they ran local governments like personal business. And so that's probably where his question is coming from. The local government is expected to be the third tier of government and not under the control of any governor. I understand that you have to, probably report or under authority like you mentioned, but to an extent, just to ensure at least political autonomy, it should be away from the hold of the state governors. And I'm sure that's what the president is, trying to reinforce, especially with the bill sent to the National Assembly. But very quickly to the issue of IGR, because that's very crucial at this time. We have so many local governments who do not have good roads and are not aware that it's actually, the role of the local government to construct roads and inner roads, especially not federal government.
Not federal government roads. You see the way I'm looking at you. Roads don't come cheap.
Yes,
okay.
I understand. But what's the place of IGR? You mentioned that you have ways. I want to know the specific.
Well, just like I'm saying that no two communities are the same. And obviously, in different localities, the kind of IGR has been generated. It's actually unique most times to where you're from. Well, the norms are there to the state-regulated ones. This you can do, this you can do. But in the creativity, if you don't have, say, waterways or whatever in your community, you cannot think about tourism and, taking advantage of that. So every specific community got, their special needs, and you have to work on what you have and make sure you use it to.
So how do we track the finances gotten by the local government chairman? How open is it? How open is it?
Well, I mean, with this now, you have now the EFCC, ICPC, NFIU, all of them.
I can report my local government.
Yeah, their eyes and all that. Yeah. And definitely, that is what I talk about, the checks and balances. You want to make sure that nobody just wakes up and does something, that is not under the guidelines of what you're supposed to do. So if you know you can, if you want to derail from that, you quickly have other people to put you in.
Okay, I would also like you to, you just put out your opinion on this issue of autonomy, because following this incident, it has, to an extent, caused a rift between the federal and the state governors. They sent back lawyers to court saying that the federal government has no legal rights. They opposed this, and we expected that the state governors, although they cancelled that meeting last week, were to meet to decide on the local government autonomy and how they will be putting these plans in place. But how can the local government, the state government, and the federal government synergize rather than just meeting in Abuja for probably the allocation only once in a month?
Well, right now it's a must. I'm not sure the meeting you're talking about, because I know the one that I'm
talking about the NGF.
Yeah, the NGF, and I heard the governor of Kwara State pretty excited about the Supreme Court ruling, and that they're willing to work with the federal government and also make sure they take proper care of also the local governments where needed. Just at least you still have to babysit once in a while. We
are trying to take the baby from the mother. Because it seems you actually want to be babied.
No, it's not that. It's just sometimes it's good, you have that support. Especially now we're all security, food security, the security and all those things, So you cannot just say like I can talk about my local government. My chairman would do certain things, like maybe we had sudden issues on security. Yes, quickly make decisions, generate maybe local security forces, and still reach out, to the governor of the state. And the governor also, quick, and the kind of support that we cannot give, definitely the state can, give it, and at a much wider, better thing. So it's always good that you also have that support, at the end of the day.
So what can states learn from Lagos State's example?
I still will say that, if anything, Lagos State still remains a role model state. And not just, jokes, about because I'm from Lagos State, but even on the national level, everybody believes that we do our things more orderly, we get things done, and there's a reason why Lagos works. And I think it's the blueprints. You know, when you look at the way Lagos is being run, you've got 10, 20, 30 years ahead, master plan, okay? So it's not really like autopilot, but you've got things, projections, okay? So I would want other states to also take.
Are you saying that, because many people have this mindset, or they have said, that's because Lagos State has been ruled by one political party over the years, that's why they could follow judiciously with the master plan?
No, it's all about leadership.
Okay.
I'm not going to go on that trend of maybe just the party or whatever, but the leadership. I think we have been blessed by the kind of great leadership that we've had in this great, in this great state,
So just so we don't, deviate from the conversation, let's talk about, the National Assembly considering amendment of the 1999 Constitution to create room for the conduct of the elections by INEC. So what happens to the state electoral commissions?
At some point, they're still going to be absorbed somehow in the system, because for INEC, just the way we do the normal elections now for the federal, the Senate and all that, definitely the state government is also still supportive. When they, come from Abuja, it's still going to be the workers and all that. So in that, the amendment is just to say some things were too silent. Let me use that word, and to make sure that there's no confusion or somebody just saying this is what this is supposed to be or whatever, and you have chaos. So I think that's why that is being put in place.
Okay. So in everything we're talking about now, you believe that local government will now be more vibrant,
definitely,
to do their bit, to do the work they are supposed to do.
Yes, definitely. And I commend the president for that. It's a bold, historical move, okay? And I know that, I pray that Nigeria definitely will be greater and better for it.
And now let's talk about, productivity of staff in the local government. We are talking about,
yes,
we're talking about, the minimum wage. Now it's 70,000 naira. We're waiting for the state governors to meet with the state chapter of the NLC as regards this conversation. But while we were having this, we're also talking about the productivity of civil servants. I will not mention your local government, but I will say that in some local governments, the attitude of staff or members of staff to work sometimes is really not, welcoming. So what's the plan to ensure that, okay, now we have financial autonomy. There were probably excuses in the first place. What's the plan to ensure that now we can, make them more productive, do what they're meant to do, and also involve in the use of technology?
The favorite word for me you've used this morning is productivity. Okay, it's one thing for us all to demand, some numbers and say we want more and more. But if you're not producing, there's no way you can really be adding value and expect that much gratitude for something that you didn't really work for. Yeah. So we all need to narrow down to just get our minds away from just being consumers or just taking and taking. We must all be like, what can I do? How can I make things better? At whatever desk that you are, how can you really defend what you're there to do? Are you the best representative on that desk? Okay, so I think the productivity is a key word that a lot of us need to imbibe in our psyche and make sure that Nigeria goes from just consuming and just, but we all go back to produce, because that's the only thing that will really help us in this time.
What about in the mindsets of the staff of the local government?
Yeah, it's all part of it. When you want to give the best, when people come to the local government, they're expecting good services, they want ease of doing business, they want all that. And you must know that what you're doing there depends. Your salary, you want more. But if you really want more, you must think about the sustainability of the local government, of the state, of the country that you're representing. And we talk about money, you want 100,000, 200,000, 400,000. Okay, but you can't give what you don't have. If we're not producing and being able to deliver those things, then where are we at?
And what's the progress as regards consultations? Speaking with members of the local government. I mean, president.
I think really that is the
government.
next stage now. Our principals, and I'm talking about the chairman. They're having this great sensitization, cutting across boards now. And I still will talk about Lagos State because, even the training, okay, that is being given to them on, quarterly basis, the staffs, okay, and even staffs and political appointees, Lagos makes sure that at some point you're also being, tutored on ways of how you can run the affairs of the local government, what is expected of you. I mean, how do you want to be seen on that?
Okay, I'm not just talking about, those who work in the local government. I'm talking about residents of the local government.
Oh, yeah, we have stakeholders.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, that our principles in all local governments now, you're going to see a lot of stakeholders meeting. And at that, the issues and the questions that needed to be asked, they are being answered, okay, to calm people's fears or anxiety as to so what is going to happen now? So it's a collaborative effort, and it's still going to be like, we are all here, we are here together, we are here for you. You've got to trust us, and everything will be better.
Yeah, at least I will look forward to those consultations.
Thank you.
I like to attend such kinds of meetings.
It's already
starting
now. Yeah.
Yes. So what about the place of local government councillors in all of this?
Their oversight functions, Yeah, that's why I said the system is being run, checks and balances, okay? The legislators, just like you have in the National Assembly, the bills, budgets and all that, to make sure that there's what you call that, transparency, accountability, and when you say you have a budget, to make sure that things are being, properly done.
So what should we expect, moving forward? When we're talking about grassroots development, we're talking about security, we're talking about health concerns. There was a time that we had
cholera.
Yes, and cholera has not, really left the country. But I was talking about, environmental officers who we call wole that was organized by the local government. Do we still have that?
Yes, definitely.
To date? I believe that if they were, working as much as they should, probably we would not have this. This would have been copped immediately from the local government level.
Actually, every local government have their department. Even we have supervisors, especially in charge of environment. So they go out and they also do their duties every day in the markets, the homes. Maybe they don't have proper toilets in place. And the awareness, we have programs, that are tailored towards that, to where people are being reminded that health is wealth. And, what you do affects your neighbor.
Truly.
You must also please make sure you have a clean environment, especially Lagos. We talk about the floods and all that, to where people just dump things. And in the community, you complain about flood. People build on those canals that are supposed to. Yeah, we have all that in every local
that should be a different story entirely.
Another day.
That building is a different story entirely.
Okay. And that's a very fine place to leave the conversation. We are hoping as Nigerians to see the growth of local government as one of the major tiers of government in the country. We have been speaking with the Vice Chairman, Ikorodu Local Government, who also doubles as the National Chairman of the Vice Chairman in Nigeria, Arabirin, Honorable Princess Folashade Olabanji-Oba. I got that right.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.